Rome hosted the final stage of the 106th Giro d'Italia in all its glory, with the peloton ready to taste one final bit of glory. The jerseys all ready to be awarded, the GC more or less done, and those who wanted to go for a final stage win, most likely the sprinters, were all ready for action. Signing in meant signing out. The 21st and final stage of the race, just hours after disappointment for some, glory for others, and a dramatic change in the GC at the top of a mountain in the far northeast of the country. They spent their morning on a plane, they'd spend their afternoon on the bike, riding out to the sea, back into town, and 6 laps around the centre of Rome, the Eternal City, the Italian capital, with all the monuments of ancient Rome on show. 126 kilometres in the end for the 21st and final stage of the Giro. The day began with the usual sipping of bubbles, photographs, and the pink jersey on show. Primož Roglic about to win the Giro d'Italia by 14 seconds. Nicolas Della Valle would finish last, at well over 5 hours down. They rode out to the seaside, but a day before their holidays could begin, they would ride back into the Italian capital. And the attacks would begin to try and win the stage with just under 70 kilometres to go. Benedetti, Skuinj and Bouet were the 3 attackers. They got a maximum gap of almost 40 seconds, but bit by bit they'd be pulled back in by the chasing sprinters' teams. At the intermediate sprint, Skuinj would do his best to try and stop Derek G winning the intermediate sprints competition, a task he pulled off successfully. The sprint teams continued their work, and going into the final lap, the breakaway would be caught. 1 lap to go, just over 13 kilometres, and the cobbles outside the Colosseum were awaiting. Final mechanical problems for Meyerhofer and Dunbar were successfully negotiated. So too, a lead out for Mark Cavendish. Even Geraint Thomas was starting to help out. He pulled things along, and once they got into the final few hundred metres, it would be Pasquale Lon trying to lead out Milan, Gaviria going from distance, Cavendish, the British champion, on his final ever Giro d'Italia stage, coming off the wheel of the Colombian, hitting the front, staying at the front, and in the Eternal City, the eternal sprinter, the greatest of all time, Mark Cavendish winning with a crash behind, taking out Pascal Ackermann. 7 trips to the Giro, a stage at each and every one of those, a 17th Giro stage in the end. Disappointment for others, but all in all, everybody finishing, and Mark Cavendish victorious again at a Grand Tour, his first victory of the season since joining Astana Kazakhstan, who pulled off their first win for 4 years at this race. A bit of help from his friends, finished off however by nobody else apart from himself. The Manx missile firing for one final time to victory and glory. A bucket list sprint in Rome, won by Mark Cavendish ahead of Alex Kirsch, Filippo Fiorelli, with Dainese and Krieger in the top 5. All that suffering in the mountains worthwhile for one final shot at glory. All the glory on the final podium belonged to Primož Roglic, in the pink jersey and becoming the first ever Slovenian to win the Giro d'Italia. He beat Geraint Thomas by 14 seconds and João Almeida, becoming the first Portuguese ever to finish on a Giro podium. The never-ending trophy has a new name on it, a new nationality too, as Jumbo-Visma's Primož Roglic wins his 4th Grand Tour and his first Giro. White jersey went to João Almeida. The Maglia Ciclamino, the overall points classification, was won by an Italian, Jonathan Milan. And in his final Giro d'Italia, Thibaut Pinot won the King of the Mountains competition, as well as taking a top 5 overall in the GC. The best team were Bahrain victorious, and the Giro ending in front of a place where the great gladiators once fought it out. The modern day equivalent, treating us to a final week of big entertainment. From the Giro d'Italia, thanks for watching on GCN+.